growing apples and pumpkins. Meet Farmer Applegate and his wife Lisa and their sons Kyle and Michael. Soon they'll welcome a new baby to the family. Scott and his family grow apples and pumpkins on a farm in New Jersey. It's the end of February and the snow is gone. Michael and his mom look at the buds on the apple trees, all tightly shut from the cold winter. By springtime, the buds will open into blossoms. Later, they will grow into apples. Scott checks out the farm with Kyle and Michael along for the ride. Winter is almost over, and soon Scott can plant new young apple trees called saplings. By the middle of March, it's time to plant the new trees. Scott gets a lot of help from farm workers Carlos and Jose. Scott drives his tractor over the fields. At the back of the tractor is a tree planter that plows a ditch in the soil. Carlos sits in the tree planter and plants saplings in the ditch every 12 feet. After the small tree is put in the ditch, Jose straightens the tree and packs moist soil around it. When the trees are firmly planted, they're ready for pruning. Scott cuts them back about 6 inches. Next, he has to take care of the older trees. Scott prunes the weak limbs, so only the strong limbs will be left to grow. He places spreaders between the branches of the younger trees, forcing them to grow horizontally. This way, a lot of sunlight can reach the branches and more fruit will grow. Scott also wraps the tree trunk with a tree guard to keep animals from eating the bark and hurting his trees. April brings good news, and Lisa had a baby girl, Jessica. May brings warmer, longer days, and the apple trees have begun to flower. Kyle and Michael love to play in the flowering orchard with their friend Maggie. Scott has a beekeeper move bees into the orchard. Bees are great helpers in the orchard. These insects carry flower pollen from one tree to another, making more flowers bloom and allowing more apples to grow. The flowers grow in groups of 5. The first flower to bloom is called the king blossom. The king blossom is the best chance of growing into an apple. Scott uses a selective spray to knock off the other blossoms. This is called thinning. Fewer apples will grow, but those that do will be bigger and more colorful. Also, the tree limbs won't break from the weight of too many apples. The apples have just started to form when Scott gets the ground ready for planting pumpkins. First, he must turn over the soil. He hooks up a disc harrower to his tractor. The big, strong metal discs dig into the dirt and help it turn around, bringing the soil from the bottom up to the top. This will help loosen the soil so plants grow and their roots will spread more easily. Next, Scott uses a spreader to add fertilizer containing nutrients into the soil. On a sunny day in June, Scott prepares to plant the pumpkin seeds. Michael watches closely as Scott smooths over the loosened soil with his spring-toothed harrow. This rakes the soil and makes it even. Then, Scott fills the planter with seeds. The planter crosses back and forth over the field in trenches 2 inches deep. Every 3 to 4 feet, it drops the seed into the trench and covers it with dirt. Every year, Scott plants an extra-large pumpkins called Atlantis Dill Giants. This year, Michael gets to plant one of his own. Michael won't want to use the planter. He wants to plant his seed by hand. The sun and rain and nutrients in the soil give the seeds what they need to open and grow. In 2 weeks, presto! The seeds have sprouted. Look how big those seeds are. I wonder how big those pumpkins will be. The pumpkin plants grow really fast. By the middle of June, they've started to flower. There are female plants and male flowers. The females are the only ones that can keep becoming pumpkins. Scott brings in the bees to help grow more pumpkins. Meanwhile, Kyle and his friend Hector check on the apples. During July, the apples and pumpkins continue to grow. The boys have fun playing baseball and football in the orchard. Michael looks in on his pumpkin. Like everything else in the field, it's getting bigger. By August, the apples are starting to change colors. Scott grows different kinds of apples. Some Rome Beauties and Red Delicious apples change from green to red. The Golden Delicious apples change from green to gold. And the Granny Smith apples just stay green. The apples aren't ripe yet, but the kids can't help climbing the trees to check. Later in August, some of the pumpkins have grown as big as basketballs, but they're not quite ready to be picked. They'll grow much bigger and turn bright orange. Michael stops by to see his pumpkin again. It's getting bigger still. Then September arrives, the kids go back to school. The days are shorter and the weather is colder. Lisa visits the orchard with baby Jessica. Scott brings the boys to the field at the end of the day. He tells Michael excitedly, "Go take a look at your pumpkin. "It's ready!" cries Michael as he stands on it in triumph. "It's bigger than I am!" Then he and Kyle try to move the big pumpkin. Look, it's bigger than him. In October, Scott Applegate and his family come with pride, and friends and families and neighbors come to visit their farm and pick beautiful apples and pumpkins. They watch as hundreds of visitors spend golden afternoons filling buckets with ripe apples and paring pumpkins from the field. It has been a lot of busy period with lots of work and worry, but the harvest has gone well. Now the Applegates can take some time off and rest until next February, when they will start growing apples and pumpkins all over again. The end.